This stage here is all details. The painting itself is sort of pretty much completed. So all I'm doing right now is just extracting details, especially around the face, just like the zombie people from last week. We work on details around the face. That's just human nature, actually all animal nature, that you look at the face first. Right. So if you guys have out there have dogs or cats or any kind of pet, you notice that they always look at you in the face. This is just something that's built into most animals. So when you have a design that also has a face, like even though this is a robot, the tendency is to look at the face first. Right? And you also want I probably move down to the two soldiers and try to look at their face. So we use that to our advantage when we do paintings, or even for directors when they shoot films, they'll put people looking at other things, and then you want to look at those things too, right? It's a great way to grab attention. So therefore, your detail level wants to start from the face area and then slowly migrate away from it. So if you want the tightest details, focus around that area and kind of let it fade out to the rest. So like the back of his legs, where his belly, those areas I never even worked on them. They're still raw from when we first put them down in the very, very beginning stage. But that's okay. You want your paint to have that feeling. If I went in and detailed everything super ultra tight, this painting will actually start to looking dead. It won't have any life left in it. All the energy that the creative person putting in, right, yourself or me or whatever doing these, will start to get drained away because you're talking about something that's too tight. And even in reality, we don't see that way, right? Our human eye only has about a focal point of about 60 degrees outside, right? We have a lot of peripheral vision, but the actual in-focus vision is quite limited. So by moving your eyeball, you're constantly keeping things in focus. But if you just stand still and look straight ahead, you cannot actually focus on stuff around you. So in a painting, you want to kind of capture the same thing. If you focus everything, the background, the design, every single blade of grass, what happens is it looks too sharp. It's something that the human eye actually cannot see, right? So it's starting to get this kind of fake feel to it. You want stuff to kind of go in and out of focus, right? Just like how the human eye works. As you look around the room, certain things are in focus, certain things are not, depending on the depth of field your eye chooses to see them at. So same thing with the painting. So here we extract some part of the leg, we extract part of the head, we extract part of the grass. And so your eye goes in and out of constant focus. More relaxing to the viewer to look at it versus everything being super tight. When everything's super tight, there's no depth of field at all. So your eye is actually being strained. It feels unnatural. It's like everything's blasting into your brain, that your brain has to work much harder to separate out what's close to me, what's far from me. Is that a background? Is that something close? Right? Because it has to analyze the shapes that's actually in the painting to figure it out, versus letting the painting and the value do it for you, which tend to be more natural. So that's a good way to think about when you're putting details. Don't over detail stuff. Just have a fine balance. Have the overall, that's the most important, overall design, and then balance accordingly. You don't need every single nut and bolt, every single texture defined. Those things in general, tend to look quite dead when you overdo it. So here I adjust the color palette once more just to warm it up. So again, with the value set, you can kind of do whatever you want. Here I kind of want to put in a background building, so I'm just messing around, painting some kind of building, some just value back there, but I actually ended up deleting this one, putting something else in it. But again, it's digital, so who cares? Try stuff. All right, it's not a layer anyway, so if you screw it up, just delete it. So here I'm just painting a building. I felt like we needed something in the background. It's a little bit bland, so try to put some building, but this one looked kind of ugly, so I took it out. But just trying it out, you can see how loose it is. I'm actually just trying stuff out. You'll see the second building, which I'm about to put in, also starts out extremely rough. It's more for yourself to see, is it going to work? No, for this one, my gut's telling me it's not working. It doesn't feel right. So I try to save it, put a few more lines on it, see if it looks good. But then it's like, you know what, wasting time. It's not going to work, just nuke it. So right away I start another building. You see on the other side on the left here. It's very rough. It's actually going over my own painting. And I go, you know what? That's going to work. That's enough for me to kind of, in my brain, could tell that it's going to work. So then now I do a real one. That's an accident. Press P instead of B. P goes into the pen, which gives very strange, gives you path. Anyways, back to painting. So I'm just doing a tower here that has a similar design, the spiky stuff, as the robot himself. So they look like they're from the same world. So this kind of alien world, this kind of, humans live here, where maybe it's another alternate universe type of thing. So that tower is part of the design. So this also goes in lines with details. You don't want this thing to be ultra details. You don't want to go in there and draw every single window, every single texture, because that's not how the human eye will work. you're not going to be able to see that like that, right? So you want to extract certain details out, indicate certain things like windows and some spikes, some details, but you don't want to go in there and just get it so tight that it's unnatural. And this painting also, when I was looking at it, it kind of has that kind of, at least to me, that kind of old, English painting. You see those paintings with some guy standing next to his horse or next to his dog. Kind of a weird still life feel to it, partly because of the paint dirty brush. So I try to make composition that's kind of similar to that as well. Like they always have a house in the background and a tree, something like that. So I'm doing the same thing here, except we just change the subject matter to be what I like, which is giant robot type of things. And the people, instead of having Englishmen, we have soldiers, and instead of having a mansion, we have a very evil-looking tower in the background. So it's fun. It's really fun to paint these kind of things. Change the subject matter. Take something that's old and change the subject. So I'm probably gonna do another one soon, maybe for next week. A similar thing, but except I think I'm gonna do a character or something like that. But I'm gonna put a little bit more design into the next one versus let it run loose like this. So this painting, literally, when I started, I didn't even know I was gonna do. I didn't even want, have any plans actually last night to do one, but just decided to try it out to see how that machine that I had at home will do, and the result was this painting. So sometimes spontaneous painting is the best stuff. The stuff that you don't plan out, right? So even when I do planning, I don't plan it 100%. It's about 20-30% of what I sort of want, and then I let the painting start and let the rest go from there. Because first generation of something in general looks much better because your passion and your feelings inside it. When you do a second generation, you tend to lose a little bit of that creative feeling. So here is just again constant detail balancing, some highlights. This painting actually doesn't have any white on it at all. It's so now I'm starting to put some very hot highlights, but they're still not white. This way you don't get overly hot highlights everywhere. It'll make your painting too contrasty. I want a kind of a softer, because of the environment that this thing is in, kind of a foggy, early morning, 6 a.m., 7 a.m. type of feel. The sun's just rising sort of thing, so I want to quite foggy. Signed date, right? So October 6, 2010. And then once I do that, what I did here is actually I walked away from the painting for a few minutes, went to the kitchen, get some drinks, whatever, and then come back and take a look. And when you do that, you'll notice mistakes or things you should work on. So here I spent the last just few minutes touching things up, like his antenna, and made his eyes a little bit more tighter. Separated the second antenna, which you see in the back. I'm going to use a little bit of fog to separate that out so it doesn't compete with the head, which I'm doing right here, you can see. So erase the antenna out, add some volumetric fog, and then delete it down. So that way it goes into the background. So it's further away. So very minor stuff, but it makes a small difference. Also put a little bit more detail into the gun. So anyways, this tutorial is coming to an end. So I hope you guys enjoy watching this stuff, more of a recorded painting. So next week I'll probably do something similar as well. So don't forget to subscribe and also try to watch these in HD. Otherwise, these files, we're recording 6 gig files here, so that way you can have it nice and clear for you guys, right? And again, any questions and things like that, ask us on YouTube and I'll try to get to them. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. And I'll also zoom out here on this video for you guys to take an overall look. Okay, thanks for watching, and okay, see you guys next week.